Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Tiger Mileage Report podcast here at tigersmoreport.com. I am Rogelio Castillo. Alongside me will be Brandon Day and Chris Brown. Shortly, he's in Pittsburgh right now traveling for work. As the Tigers won 6-3 over the Twins to kick off the homestand, as Kyle Finnegan is now 2 for 2 in his new role as the Tigers closer. And thank you for everybody who's been listening and participating in our podcast. So you can always find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Of course, if you can give us a 5-star review, we greatly appreciate it. Last show we did for the trade deadline was a spirited show as the Tigers added 4 arms and played a really good series against Philly, but came up short. And starting pitching did its job, and the offense did its job too. Well, no, I can't say that. The offense did not do well on Sunday, and Riley Green looking like he's in the middle of a slump. We'll address that. Went to Toledo on Friday and went to Akron on Sunday, so we'll talk a little bit about what I saw out there. And really, there was a lot of movement in the farm system too. We'll address all that as well. But the Tigers today getting it done, and it was interesting because watching the Tigers have this unique ability, for whatever reason, a guy that you may have never heard of, the Tigers struggle against. And Travis Adams had a really good a changeup going. Sorry, I was thinking of Finnegan's splitter, but he was mixing his pitches really well, showed no fear. And there was an interesting story that Jason Benetti said on the broadcast that he saved somebody's life during spring training. There was a fire and he got the person out and everything. So that was a cool story. But Kerry Carpenter hitting the bomb. I think that was the longest bomb of his career. And that was it was a meatball that was just sitting middle. And that was off the reliever, Noah Davis. And after that, it was just a matter of time before the Tigers would get in the Twins. The Twins they're a bad team. Sorry, folks. I mean, just when you decided to shed as much payroll as the Twins have, and the owner came out and gave some sort of ridiculous statement about winning, I don't buy it. So, but Tigers in a part of their schedule right now that they could take a really good advantage of too. And so, just getting it done. It's really against, as far as who the Twins have, they got Brian Buxton. I just can't. I mean, I saw St. Paul on Friday in their AAA affiliate. That was a brutal team too. And I'm not even just a lot of the guys there. Story Gibson Long made mince meat of those guys early on, and yeah, that's a ball club that's. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for Minnesota Twins fans to this extent because it's just you deserve better. Twins fans have you come back. Last year you had the collapse. Now your owners are basically saying, "Now you guys are good. You guys are good." So, but as we wait for Brandon and Chris here, so hi everybody in the chat there. Yeah, I'm glad the Twins did make a pitching change. Absolutely. Zebby Matthews, he's the pitcher out of North Carolina, I believe. He's going to start tomorrow, so that will be an interesting start. But Charlie Morton, by the way, we'll talk about Charlie Morton's start yesterday. That was he absolutely shoved, and Philly's probably one of the best teams. I would say Philly's lineup is probably the best lineup I've seen all season, as far as just guys who can just grind out at bats. And Bryce Harper, I don't really talk about Bryce Harper too much, but I got a lot of respect for Bryce Harper just because the guy can the way he can make swing adjustments, and that was a very good series to watch. Yes, unfortunately the Tigers did lose the series, but overall, Charlie Morton against Christopher Sanchez, and even Derek Subel was taken away by his changeup, and he was dealing, and there was not much the Tigers could do about it. But I mean, the Twins went out and got Duran, and of course they made a big deal. ESPN made a big deal about the introduction and all that, but Duran, what was it 102, 103, 102, 103, 103, 102, just heat, and the Dombrowski, I think for once, got his trader. He's got his guy for the trade deadline. So Brandon Day joining us. Brandon, good to see you again, sir. I know you've been dealing with some computer issues and
Oh yeah,
all
we've been
sorts of
having
stuff.
fun.
Now your website's down. What the hell, man? What's technology failing you, man?
Yeah, we're switching to WordPress tonight, so the whole site's going to look different tomorrow. So yeah, the last couple days of prepping for that have been exciting. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. Will I be able to access my own site and write articles? I don't know yet. We're going to find out. So yeah, I don't know. We've known this is coming for a while. I'm glad they at least waited until after the trade deadline. But they do this in the middle of the baseball season because football's the priority, of course.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's
You got to tell me what time we're starting at night, man.
oh, I told you. I told you we started right before the after the game.
Oh, okay.
Or
I just figured
well,
9 like usual.
yeah, no, that was yeah. It was one of those things where I was trying to give Chris the benefit of the doubt a little bit too because he's traveling in Pittsburgh. He said he was gonna be on tonight.
Oh yeah.
So unless he fell asleep, he said he's on a work call. He'll join when he can.
All
So,
right.
but no, Brandon, I haven't had a chance. We haven't had a chance to have Brandon on talk about the trade deadline a little bit because I'm sure your site dealt with the onslaught of the season's over, the sky's falling, the
Yeah.
Tigers suck,
Yeah.
all that stuff. I got to hear. So on your end, how did Bless You Boys handle the trade deadline?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have that, but then we also have the like, oh, you guys got to trust Harris. Harris is going to be fine. Everything Harris does turns to gold. So we've
Yeah,
got, there's some of both, and that's fine because when Scott Harris makes small moves, you can usually find a logic to it, and quite a few of them have worked out. Not everything. So yeah, pretty much that. I myself was disappointed that they didn't make a bigger move. But it's not that there were tons available, and we also have to, of course, factor in the fact that the Tigers' like middle depth in the farm system, especially the pitching, was pretty gutted. So,
yeah,
I know that all presented a problem. But the only thing that set me off really was the oh, I don't believe in windows. I don't believe in Tarek Skubal being a window. All that's an illusion. Last I checked, Tarek Skubal is a real human being who is the best pitcher in baseball, and we have him this year and next year. And I would love to have gone out and gotten a really good starting pitcher to back him, to get one of the better relievers. Now, do I want to pay what they paid for Juan Duran? Not really.
no,
It sounded like what they asked for Bednar was Josue Brosinho, which is just ludicrous. So yeah, we'll pass there. I could have been, this might upset some people, but I could be tempted to trade Max Clark for Mason Miller, but I don't think that would have got it done.
no,
I mean, that was a huge prospect going that way. So, it kind of is what it is. I wish they could have found a starting pitcher and something a little bit more long term that kind of bolstered the rotation for next year, since we're not going to get Job until 27. And I am a little bit worried about like what this rotation is going to look like in the postseason. Jack Flaherty's been pitching well lately, but we've seen Jack be real up and down. We've seen Casey be pretty bad for quite a while. A little better tonight. 3 solo shots, but other than that, there was almost like no hard contact. So we'll call that progress. And then, Charlie Morton looked good. That was nice. Some people wanted Verlander. I noticed Verlander hit 98 tonight and threw a really good game, but I still think people need to keep in mind, just the problematic PR circumstances of having Justin Verlander here, and
yeah,
if it doesn't go well, and then having to cut him after all the hype that would come with it, all that was too much. So all in all, it was kind of what we expected, which was Harris finding a couple small moves that will probably plaster over some holes and hopefully help them out. But I'm not convinced that the pitching staff is better than it was like in May and June at this point. And that's going to be a problem probably in the postseason. But we can hope for Sawyer to come along and maybe help out. Maybe Urquidy ramps it up and looks good. There's some things to hope for. I don't know that I have much hope for Rafael Montero, but of course I'm a huge Chris Fetter honk, and hopefully he'll work out. But
yeah,
or at least figure something out with him. But they've kind of got what they've got, and they're going to have to figure it out. And there's a lot of pressure once again on the coaching staff to make this work, rather than going and getting them a killer somewhere. And Scott Harris having to deal away one of his big prospects, which he obviously does not want to do. So that's pretty much where it was at. And I think overall people were pretty even handed either way. We had some people pretty irate that they didn't go make a huge trade. We had some other people who are just pretty much like, whatever Harris does is good. Yeah, I'm probably going to be somewhere in the middle. I am
yeah,
definitely a Scott Harris fan as opposed to an Alavila fan, but I still feel like most of what's happened the past couple of years has more to do with AJ Hinch and the coaching staff and the player development group than anything else. So I still think Harris has some things to prove, but Finnegan was a good pickup. The Washington's who is crunching in the background? Is that Chris?
Oh, that's Chris. Yeah, that's Chris. It's Chris drinking some water there.
Oh, okay, yeah,
My bad. You could hear that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I didn't think
okay.
I wasn't on stage.
I was like,
No,
oh,
no.
am I all
It picks up.
crackly?
No, it picks up. We can hear the background noise. Nobody else can. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm in a hotel room in Pittsburgh,
Oh, nice.
and I'm trying. I put like old school iPhone headphones in. I thought that might make me sound better, but I don't know. Last
No, you
time I
sound-
did this, I was kind of echoey.
No, you sound fine. Actually, there's no echo at all.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Little crackle, but everything else it sounds
Yeah.
good.
A little bit of but it's as far as like Casey Mize goes. By the way, I mean he's got a FIP of 3.69 in his last 5 starts. I don't know what else. I mean he's
Yeah, I mean, you can't really expect him to turn into an ace. He looked really good to start the year, but there was some smoke and mirrors to that, and we're kind of back to you got to pitch okay for the most part. I just the thing that's kind of weird about Casey though is that his command has always been the selling point, and that's what's failing him. It's not the stuff. The stuff looks significantly better than it did before he went down with the injury, and even better than it did last year. So you just hope he catches a good groove and is strong in October. To go back to Finnegan and what I was saying though, I mean Washington's catchers are freaking atrocious. Washington's defense is atrocious. So even if they don't like tune Kyle Finnegan up in some way, he's going to be better here just for those reasons alone. I mean that was a smart move. Didn't really cost him very much, and nothing they did really cost him that much. Most of it was very small deals with guys who were kind of fringe prospects, cash considerations for Cody Hewer. Paul Sewald, you stash away and hope that maybe he gets healthy. The thing I thought they might do is a little bit more of the Sewald thing, is like trying to find some guys who are on the injured list, but had a good chance to come back, because it's a long season. Guys are usually dragging by the time you get to the postseason. Finding somebody who got a break sort of and is ramping up in rehab and then comes back in September is a smart idea. And I thought they might go and try to find even more than Sewald that way. But I've liked Paul Sewald in the past. He's homer prone, but he might work out for us at least to some degree.
Well, the thing is too that one of the things that you mentioned this earlier is the middle of there's people that were using MLB pipeline. Well, Pittsburgh traded, or the Yankees traded their 6th ranked, 8th ranked. Listen, the problem with that is that you have the prospect rankings, and we talked about this with JJ Cooper. Prospect rankings are very subjective depending on who the list is.
Yeah.
The problem is the Tigers, as far as like here's an example. I went to Akron yesterday. Erie's bullpen has been bad. I mean, outside of Andrew Magno, and it's been Wash has struggled as of late. Pettit's now up in Toledo, and then Toledo, same thing. Toledo today, I was talking to Chris about this earlier. Toledo's already used almost 50 pitchers already, and that's 5 more than they used all of last year. So Toledo is going through literally. They released 2 more arms today in Ryan Miller and Devin Schmetzler, and so they don't. As far as prospect pitching goes, it is next to none because of the injuries, because of Hall. Chris was mentioning
Miller.
Miller.
Miller
Chris was talking about
here. Yeah.
but the amount of injuries, like we had somebody ask us earlier about these guys, and all of them were Andrew Dunford injured. Rehabbing. They're all rehabbing, and Flores started back up in Lakeland, but again, is Flores going to be on this roster next year? I don't know. I don't think so.
They might, I mean, they might keep him, but I mean, he's throwing 90, 92 right now. He's a long way from building himself back up, even to where he was, before. They shut Montalvo down today for good for the season. So Rainer Castillo has been pretty bad and struggling, hasn't really done anything. So I mean that whole tier from like number 12 on my list to like 30 is pretty well gutted, and even some of the position players, like we're just seeing Carson Rucker is finally starting to get a little something going, and Brett Callahan is finally back up and might help out. But there's just there just wasn't that much in that group that was even healthy and doing well to deal from for sure.
Yeah, and I mean Josh Randall was pretty much the only one of the healthy guys that was been going out there and shoving.
Yeah.
But anyway, Chris, how's it going?
Not bad. It's just been a kind of a strange day, so I'm trying to get these slides filled in right now. But Wait a minute, what?
I'm planning to block him off the chat right now.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I look at the chat. I'm like,
yeah,
interesting.
I know.
That's an interesting comment. I mean, good
Yeah,
for him. But yeah, no. So I'm in Pittsburgh for the next 4 or 5 days. I'm going to try, if I can, to get over to Erie on Thursday night.
Yeah.
But it seems unlikely. It's like a 2.5 hour drive from here still. But yeah, we got the chance to talk about the whole trade deadline the other day.
Thursday night. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say. I think, generally speaking, I think most Tigers fans were somewhere between underwhelmed and furious.
Yeah.
But I do think there, like Brandon, you said, there is a contingent of people and I can't really argue with them too much. To say, like, point to the record and point to the farm system and say, like, what's been going on is working. I do think, like, there's more than one way to win in baseball, and I think a lot of Tigers fans got conditioned to Dave Dombrowski when they were competing, making these giant
Yeah.
splashy trades. But one thing that I went back and I looked, and that didn't really happen until the end of Dombrowski's tenure. Like even like the Doug Fister trade ended up working out spectacularly, but at the time, Doug Fister was kind of a nobody. Like people may remember, he was like 3-9.
Right.
Everybody knew, like, okay, he's got zero offense. He's a pretty good pitcher. He ended up way better than I think anybody expected. Maybe Dombrowski expected that, but
Yeah.
before that, the big blockbuster move in 2006 was Sean Casey. I mean, they needed a first baseman, but that wasn't like,
Yeah.
they didn't go out and get Albert Pujols.
Right,
And,
but we also didn't trade much.
Yeah.
You're talking Charlie Furbush, you're talking Jacob Turner, who was our number one prospect, but I don't even think he was a top 100 guy, or he was like maybe.
oh no,
fringe.
he was top 20.
Was he?
Yeah,
He was that high at that point?
it
Jeez.
was like him and Shelby Miller were. He may have exited out of prospect status at that point. I don't know,
Yeah.
but no, he was. But yeah, like I mean, that's the thing you take away from it is like, do they ever get haunted by these guys they traded away? Like, not really. I mean, the Eugenio Suarez for Alfredo Simon deal was, ended up being an all-time
Yeah.
bad trade, but we knew that was bad at the time. Not even for the Suarez part. We were just like, Simon sucks.
Yeah.
But like, no, just to continue that, like, and then in 2007, their big move was like McKay McBride. They didn't do anything in 2007. In 2009, it was Jared Washburn and Aubrey Huff.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't until they got farther along in their championship window. It was like, we got to make a move now because some of these guys are getting older and getting closer to free agency. And that's when, trading for Sanchez was huge and getting Infante, and then obviously the David Price one was wild.
Right. That was the big one. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And that worked out okay. I mean, you got what you wanted out of David Price, and
Yeah.
then he managed to turn David Price into two pretty good prospects at the time that you could have converted in some other way into value before they, both kind of fell apart for a while. And then Boyd eventually figured it out to some degree, but Daniel Norris never did.
Well, that trade kind of lives on in Reese Olson, though. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yep.
there's these fun trade trees. But in any event, I understand people were upset, and it did feel like they could have done more. Not necessarily. I don't think anybody was out there screaming trade Max Clark or Kevin McGonigal or Briseño or any of those guys, really. But it felt like they had that second tier of players that they could have moved.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they were going to move Montilla, and then he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
That's entirely possible. Yeah. Yeah.
But given like the players, they kind of traded from their third tier of prospects, maybe fourth tier, depending on how you feel about them. But yeah, I don't know. I just win games.
Exactly. All I'll say about this is that Scott Harris is telling us, I'm going to out evaluate everyone. I'm going to win trades way more than everyone else does. I'm not going to make many mistakes because that's the only way that you can kind of credibly tell me that you're going to keep winning.
Yeah.
Nobody builds a homegrown roster and doesn't make big trades and doesn't have a big payroll and wins World Series. We just haven't seen that. Even the Royals in 2015, 14, they did make some significant trades that, or at least trades that were viewed as significant at the time. So, he's just going to have to be right, and, I can point to like Jace Young and Justin Henry Malloy being a lot less valuable than they were this time, last year. But, and that's a loss of value that you do have to take into account. He gave away Willie Castro rather than them being able to develop him. But, by and large, he's also, he found Jack Flaherty. That was a really good signing. Gleyber Torres has been a huge signing this year. So there really isn't a whole lot you can do but trust him. And I totally trust Harris with the smaller scale moves. I just don't know when Tarek Skubal is gone how how that pitching staff is, it's a year and a half away. So I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But but you can't tell me that a Tarek Skubal window is an illusion. Like, you don't have to like pile through it with everything that you have, but there is obviously a specific opportunity. And hey, I don't know, maybe Scott Harris has already got a deal done. I don't think so. But he's the only one. He and Scott Boras are the only ones who know what Skubal's doing. So
Yeah, no, and ultimately the thing is that when you're looking at the Tigers' depth across the board pitching wise, that is a very, very pause for concern, because I mean, heading into this year, I mean, you're hoping that a guy like Witherspoon or Ben Jacobs or some of the guys that just drafted at least come in like gangbusters a little bit and rise up quick. Yeah. And because even now, like just in terms of in Andrew Scott, he's put in there. Cody Saberhagen had an interesting anecdote that Harris's view is difficult to deal with by other clubs. I'm not going to liberty to say anything else beyond that, but that's what I also heard as well.
Yeah.
And so I mean, obviously Cody knows the stuff, and
to a degree, I mean, obviously you want him to be hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You want him to be as hard to deal with as possible, right up until the point where no one really wants to work with you that much anymore. And then you can't really make any complicated trades because people take your calls last. You can get to a point where, for Jack Flaherty last year, he wanted Tyron Lorenzo and Trey Sweeney, and he got them. But you can't turn around then and kind of act like everyone else is insane for asking the same amounts for the players that you want. If you get too out of balance, people will start ignoring you a little bit, or you'll just get a reputation as like the last guy that you want to deal with in trying to put together a 3-team trade. But, maybe this doesn't matter, because if he's just not going to make any big trades, I mean, I guess so what, right?
Yeah, there was it was a weird thing too that was mentioned a couple times during our live stream, that the Tigers are essentially the Milwaukee Brewers and Tampa Bay Rays, and I just don't. To a certain extent, I can understand that, develop within, not spend a lot of money. Mm-hmm. That being said, I just look at the system as a whole, and we do the minor league report, and like just heading into today, as of August 4th, it's just, you look at the big three, and then there's just like we are redoing our top 30 right now.
Yeah.
And after number 10, or pretty much after number 50, actually probably after top 20, it is literally a dartboard, just because I don't know. I really don't know
what to do with Owen Hall. I don't know what to do with Ethan Scheffelbein. Yeah. I don't know what to do with Paul Wilson anymore. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, Zach Swanson. There's a lot of guesswork now, with some of these guys. And the only guys doing well that are kind of up and coming are Calvis Salcedo. We can see if Wilbert Mendez or Jack Diaz gets a look in Lakeland, and if either of those guys show something. But yeah, I mean, it's fairly hollowed out for sure in the pitching department, and we'll have to see. I mean, I caught some flack for saying it was kind of a low key smart but gutless trade deadline. So people didn't like that, and that's fine. But I mean, part of it is I have faith in Harris to draft and continue to develop well. I don't think this is like the clutch of six prospects, and we'll never have anybody this good again. Yeah. I expect him to keep doing this. I just don't want to see them squandering a ton of value on the 45 plus guys, just hoping that they all work out. When a lot of times those are the guys that are your best trade capital. But again, some of those guys were hurt. Maybe teams view Max Anderson. I'm probably not the biggest Max Anderson guy. And so maybe teams view that the same way. I do really like Hao-Yu Lee, but I bet Scott Harris does as well, and probably values him like a top 100 guy. Yeah. Other teams aren't going to go for that. It is what it is. He's going to do things his own way, and he's got the pitching staff and the development staff to help him out. So let's hope it works.
Yeah, I mean, the sense that I get is that the Tigers, they are difficult to deal with in that they don't budge. It's right. Like this is the price for our guys. Like most negotiations say, all right, I'll give it's the 55 45, 52 40, and they're just like, no, 55.
Right. You usually you have built in like an amount that you're willing to move a little bit, and Scott Harris doesn't have that. He doesn't. He didn't have that with Alex Bregman either. $15 million. He was like, nope. I quoted you my price, bro. That's it.
That's how I go in. Like when I have like a fantasy baseball or fantasy basketball draft, I'm like, I'm not going a dime over $21 for this player.
Yeah.
And somebody goes 22, and I go nope, and then I lose out on a good player.
Yeah.
But sometimes you lose out on a bad player. It just
Yeah.
I don't know. But no, it's funny you mentioned. I was referring to that group of high school pitchers as the Blob earlier today. There's 11 of them,
Yeah.
and
It's a
I have
cluster.
no idea how to rank any of them.
Yeah.
Like the ones I like I really like the way Rifford Hamilton looked. I was like, well, this guy looks legit.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way Zach Swanson looked last year before he got hurt too. So I have no idea.
Yeah. Owen Hall came out, with a bunch of TrackMan data, like in whatever it was, January or February, and kind of blew us away. And then when he actually was pitching, it didn't look as
Like,
good.
No,
So
yeah,
I don't know.
there were no strikes. He wasn't
Yeah.
missing bats. It was like, oh,
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, the question we had in here from Charles, thank you for the $10. He says
so.
the Dodgers offer 3 top 100 prospects for Scooble in the offseason. Would you make the trade similar to the way that the White Sox did with Chris Sale? Look, the Dodgers system, to me, has lost a little bit of its luster because some of these guys have not been panning out. I mean, would you do that for Alex Freeland to solve your third base issue? Not really, because I think you can go with Cole Keefe and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like the rest of the system is guys. You want guys who are going to come up and go right away.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, they have a couple. They have Jose De Paula, they have Hope, but those guys are all in high A. So what you're not gonna have anybody ready to go from the Dodger system to fulfill the blanks, and not to mention their pitching wise. I mean, that was it. Jackson. I'm looking at their top 10 real quick. Jackson Ferris. I don't know. It's just to me, the top 10. Their top 10 is not what it used to be. But no, any other system. I'm more interested in maybe like a team like I don't know if we're gonna be throwing a dart here at teams, look at the Scuba won't go to the Marlins, but just an example of like
the Mariners is probably like the most likely team to go trade for him. They're not the team that's gonna give him $400 million, I assume, but but I mean the point is valid. There's only a handful of teams that could really like give you a package that makes you trade him. I still wouldn't though.
Yeah.
Like you have to blow my mind to bother trading him because I still think, on the confident side with Scott Harris, like I'm perfectly happy for him to get a comp pick for him, and and recoup some value like that. So and we have Tarek Skubal next year. Like to beat that, you got to give me like 2 top 50 guys minimum that I really like too. Something like that.
Well, the Dodgers. Charles says they only said Dodgers today would extend. Granted, you're right, Charles, but at the same time, I wouldn't. Maybe who knows? Maybe Seattle. No, I don't know Seattle because right now their TV, their money, they don't have the same kind of. They're having revenue problems.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
I mean, the Padres would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't really have the prospects anymore unless you want
Right.
like Ethan Salas. But it is one of the interesting things about this deadline. Again, not to take it all the way back to that, but the Tigers weren't the only team with like a decent farm system that didn't trade anybody. The Dodgers didn't really trade. Like Dalton Rushing has nowhere to play. They kept him. The Red Sox didn't really trade any. They traded James Tibbs, who they just got in the Devers deal. The Cubs have a bunch of dudes who are like been at AAA for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're going to keep them. I don't know if there's like a new thing where we're just keeping all our prospects, even good, bad. 40 prospects, 35 FV, we're keeping them.
Yeah.
And the Brewers have 2 of the best young infielders in baseball, and Jesus Mate and Pena, but they have Cooper Pratt like a couple levels ahead of them, and they're like, no, we're keeping him. They did trade Arenimo for was it Danny Jansen?
Yeah, Dustin May to go to Boston.
Yeah, I think isn't May a impending free agent soon? Is it next year?
I think so.
This year is it? I mean, he's not a prospect anymore. He's been around forever.
No, but
he's been injured for 2.5 full seasons.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just
he's a free agent after the year. Future Detroit Tiger, Dustin May.
Yeah, well,
I would have loved to get Dustin May. Yeah, that'd be fine by me. I've always been a fan. If they could just finally get him healthy, I think that would work well.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the Dodger pitchers to me have been having the same kind of health issues the Tigers have had too. So it's I don't know. I think the one thing about this trade deadline too that I came away with that was really kind of like this fact is that San Diego has the ball. I mean, they're doing the old school. Remember when the Padres used to trade in the early '90s and mid '90s all the time because they were trying to cut payroll, but they would always make these blockbuster ass trades. That's what the Padres are doing right now. They're pretty much putting their balls on the table and going, "Hey, this is what we're going to do."
Right.
And I think they have a good chance to capitalize on it. I mean, Mason Miller is a guy now that will be essentially your Trevor Hoffman for years to come.
Yeah, for 4 more years, right?
Yeah.
There's some talk about them trying to move him back to the rotation next year.
Yeah.
That's a stupid idea.
There's actually talk of Griffin Jacks getting moved back to the rotation by the Rays as well. So, and that's I could see that maybe more so than Miller.
Yeah, I mean, I whenever that happened, like occasionally that works. Seth Lugo was a reliever forever and turned into a solid starter. And Miller started as a starter.
Yeah, Michael King. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of examples more recently. Who was the guy with Atlanta who used to be with the Cubs?
Oh, Ronaldo
Lopez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course, he's hurt now too. Of course, because they switched him to starting, and it hasn't gone that well.
well, it's so this
in the
is
first year.
That's the interesting thing about Preller believes in his ability to draft and develop so much that he doesn't worry about losing his prospects because he's just going to restock. He's going to find more. He's going to find and when you look at the talent that they've traded away over the last 5 years and the number of wins they still pile up with, they go out and get guys in free agency and trades. So that's another way to do it. He hasn't brought home a championship yet. Dabrowski tried, and unfortunately, a couple hanging breaking balls or a change up away from a World Series. Also, having a team that forgot how to play baseball twice in the World Series.
Yeah, that was a weird series.
It's you do what you can, but there's no guarantee, and I guess you can go all the way in, or you could make penny bets and just try to give yourself as many chances as possible, and that seems to be the Harris method.
Yeah. Whereas I agree with that method. I would just like a little more of a crack at it, while Scooble is still here. But
Yeah.
I didn't get what I wanted, and looking through the whole thing, it would have been difficult to get what I wanted. Is what it seems like.
Well, ultimately,
you never know though, and that's the other thing I keep in mind. People are always like, "Well, who did you want?" Well, I don't have a $20 million analytics department, guys. I don't have $2 million in salary every year to like spend my entire life working on this. That's kind of the job. But by the same token, I can see what they're saying, and there were only a couple of elite relievers available, and I didn't think we would go for them. I really, really loved my Edward Cabrera idea, and I think like in general, like trying to find a starter that would be here the next couple of years, that you would still have when Job is, kind of like Job and Melton are, theoretically the foundation of your 2027 rotation at this point, and that's fairly sketch. So we'll see what goes on though. Plenty of time to figure that out.
I mean, Marcus Stroman's out there now. I mean, the Yankees went after and signed Kenta Maeda, which I thought was kind of strange, but
yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I know, man. The Yankees are in a state right now, which is amusing.
And look, if the Tigers, I know it would have to be the Tigers. I would not mind. I know people probably give me shit for this, but that's fine. If the Tigers wanted to go after Marcus Stroman, I would be fine with that. Yeah, as in just a guy for the end of the year. I mean, he's already getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, they could pick him up. They could pick him up and see. Yeah, I don't mind.
Because if you're going to move like Melton to the bullpen, which they have, then really what you want to have is just here's the thing. Like you have Kyler Montero's down in Toledo. You have the other Montero or Rafael. Rafael, who you're like, eh. So to me, it's just having another guy like Stroman back there to just in case, like a break glass gun thing, because they don't have the pitching. They don't have anybody in AA or AAA right now. I mean, Matt Manning, by the way, the original conductor of the Matt Manning train, Brandon Day here, ladies and gentlemen. Now he is now gone to he is gone to Philly. So and it's and Dabrowski.
Maybe. I mean, I have been saying that he probably needed like a huge wake up call, and like, hey, this isn't working. Like your career is going to be over in a minute if you don't figure something out. So best of luck to him.
Yeah. By the way, it's Chris and I were talking about this. That is the last of the 2016 draft class that is gone. So for everybody, like here's the thing. I got a lot of grief about this the other day. That I said the Tigers have struggled with the player development in the last decade. No, but look at these guys they have now. Yes, you're absolutely correct. But here's the thing. Look at their past you look at their draft classes from 2012 to 2020. And somebody's like, well, why would you mention that? Well, that's how the built of the core of the team right now has been lately in the last 3 drafts, if that, right? So that being said, you have nothing to show for the 2016 draft. Now you have Matt Manning gone, Kyle Funkhauser gone, Brian Garcia gone, Jacob Robson gone. So you have nothing to show. And the Tigers, and there was a stat that somebody posted from the Washington Post. I think outside of the Rockies, the Tigers in the last decade have had the least amount of homegrown talent. And they're just getting it now. They're
That's
just
true.
getting it now.
That's true. But yeah, because I mean, I think if you go back now 5 or 6 drafts, all of a sudden we're probably near the top, you know. But it was
Yeah.
bad. 2014, 15, 16, 2017. The only thing we got was Will Vest that I can recall.
Yeah. That's it.
So yeah, so there's nobody left from that draft either. Yeah, it didn't really turn around until 2018 and 2019, really.
Yeah.
You know, getting Mize and Scooble, and then plucking, you know, like Jason Foley out of complete obscurity. Maybe that was an undrafted free agent. I can't even
Yeah, that was on
remember.
a jet free agent. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Risky in 2019 or 20, or whenever that one was. There was a few late picks that worked out there, but it's really only been the last handful of drafts where you start seeing that. So yeah, you know, it was pretty bleak. We all know Dave Dombrowski did not draft very well, and the farm system was a bombed out, depleted wasteland.
Yeah. And I think that there was something I mentioned on the podcast. I think there's a reputation with the Tigers with that, where, do you trade with a system that has that kind of reputation to it? And people thought I was
I mean,
crazy for that. But
I mean, I would hope that they're smart enough to know that things have completely changed, or we wouldn't be where we are.
right.
I mean, that's definitely part of the reputation of the late Dombrowski, early Avila years, especially. But since then they've done a lot better. Obviously, Harris's first 2 drafts both look really good. There's a lot of weird question marks about the this year's, but we'll see how it goes. One thing that was just made me happy today was like pulling up MILB transactions today and seeing like all the draft class added to the FCL Tigers. Maybe some of those guys will play some bridge ball. We'll see, but just to see them kind of show up, we'll start
Yeah.
to get a better feel for what that draft class actually looks like. Yeah, probably not this year, but next year, and we'll go forward. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even do as bad as they did back then. There's too much data now. Like
Yeah.
some of those, I mean, you just wouldn't take Ronaldo or Ray Rivera.
Oh,
I mean, we can go into some pretty rough draft picks back then.
well, I mean,
I mean, Alex Faedo, like right from the beginning, I was like, I loved him in the College World Series, but this is a dude coming off 2 knee surgeries with a flat fastball and like one good pitch. Like, what are we doing? But
well, I mean, and one of the things we mentioned the other day is you can. Well, we see it with the prospect rankings, right? Like Clark and McGonigal look outstanding. Brainer looked awesome. Like these are good drafts, but also the value later on. Like
mhm,
we'll talk about Ellisalt later, but they just
yeah,
traded. They traded their 10th round pick and their 11th round pick, I think, from last year, and got pieces for it. They got Charlie
yeah,
Morton for their 11th round pick last year.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
they never used to do anything like that.
No.
Anybody after like the 3rd round, you're like, oh, this guy
There's
might
nothing.
do
Yeah.
something one day.
Yeah.
So
Whereas
they,
I feel like they held on to Ellisalt. I hope
yeah,
that was
I
part of
think
They
the
did.
I
plan.
think so. Like I think
Yeah.
I mean I like him.
I mean, I
Yeah.
liked RJ Sales to a degree too. I
Yeah,
liked him at least as I thought he had more potential at least than Randall, even though Randall was obviously more polished and stuff. But yeah, probably not a big deal. Enrique Jimenez, has some tools that you like, but the Tigers are so set at the catching position, and he's so
Yeah.
far away, with still plenty of questions about whether or not he'd be a good enough defender. I like you're not going to miss that. You know, I kind of feel like his ceiling is sort of like Liam Hicks or something.
hmm
I
Yeah,
don't
and,
know.
And Jarvis is what he is. I mean, he is a guy
Yeah,
who struggles with velocity a little bit, and he was serviceable at Double A, but he was not going to be. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't think he's going to be more than a 4A
yeah,
player. I don't think it's just that's what he is, and for the
yeah,
fact that you're able to get that too, and by the way, Lucas is now in. Congratulations to him and Jackson Strong, who are now in West Michigan. So
yeah,
there is like I said, for what they were able to get for the players they were able to move, all
hmm
things considering, it kept the top 5 intact, and they still have some other questions about Tehran, who by the way did not catch all week. We'll talk about that here in a second because
yeah.
yeah, well yeah, but at any rate, let's let's
Well, and I'm just going to go back to Tim
yeah
Palmer's comment. There's a lot of room between Dombrowski and Harris, and that's all I want people to realize is that there's more give. You don't have to like be rigid in a philosophy and just say like this this is we're going to do it this way or we're going to do it that way. And so when we tease Harris for trying to win the dollars per war championship, part of it is out of respect because when Scott Harris does something, it's usually smart. It's the things he doesn't do that sometimes get on my nerves. That's all it is. So
and not to mention, I mean, I feel like sometimes the guy doesn't sleep at all. Like he's like during that press conference, it looked brutal. I mean, he looked like
I'm right with him. He's grinding it out. He's there with the laptop at 4 a.m. Like,
he's got that. He's got the backpack, like the JanSport backpack thing going, and but there is.
Meanwhile, Dombrowski is somewhere with a martini and a polo. Just making a
smoking
call
jacket. Dombrowski's got a smoking jacket. He's somewhere in Philly. He married I think he married a news person or something like that. Somebody really famous in Miami when he was down with the Marlins. He's at home, like just chilling. He's just like
some penthouse suite. Overlooking his city.
Like doing that face he does, like like that's Dombrowski. And like I said, I met him once at a Big B Coffee in Southfield. He had his big ass camel jacket on. He had a scarf, and the Big B Coffee people knew exactly who he was. And he was just like they're like, "Hey, Dave," and just shooting just holding court. They knew exactly what his order was, and he was ready to go. And he's just like charming. All these like the front counter people were just like, "Oh, and they're all blushing and everything." And Dombrowski just smooth as silk, better than me talking. So there we go.
Making everybody's day. Hey, Sugar, how's it going?
He's got that Upper East Side George Plimpton face.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. If there was a
Dave Dombrowski has the face of a dude who would have showed up in the party and Eyes Wide Shut. If anyone knows.
Oh yeah. Or the Ice Storm.
To bring that back to current affairs.
Or Brandon, maybe he would have been good in the Ice Storm.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. He would have been good friends with Kevin Kline in that movie.
Yeah. Very patrician vibes for sure.
Yeah, very. Yeah, and George Plimpton too is interesting. He wasn't British, but he had what was that accent that he had?
Yeah, it's Upper East Side, Upper West Side. I don't remember which one, but it's like that New York. It's
British.
Yeah, it's like they all think it's England over there. Martha's Vineyard has its own accent. Boston has an accent. Like outside of Boston has an accent. You can't go like 10 miles in England without everybody talking different just to distinguish themselves. Like, oh, I'm not from fucking Wessex, of course. Those Philistines.
Yeah. Well, we don't go down that way.
St. Albans hasn't been relevant since 13. No, I'm sorry.
You live below 20th Street, so you believe me, or 13th Street, whatever the terminology they use. So, all right, I'm so Midwestern, I don't give a crap about that. All right, let's go into this week's slides, if you will, our farm moves. As like I said, today there was a lot of moves that happened, as we mentioned quite a bit there. So Randall, Jimenez, Sales, Mikael Ashman, and Manny. Manny goes to Philly. Ashman was part of the Charlie Morton deal, and he just got promoted to AA. Tyler Matson to Toledo. Congratulations to Kelvis Sausalito and Mendez, who he took a brew, man. I feel bad for him. What happened to him?
He did. That hurt. Yeah. That had to hurt.
Yeah, and Miller is still on the DL with, it looks like he has a back issue, but they're not 100% sure. Gary Pennington is back at West Michigan. Flores, Yuri, both rehabbing in Lakeland right now. Alex Cobb in West Michigan. He had a rehab start yesterday. And then, of course, we mentioned earlier at the top of the podcast, Miller and Spencer released. Montilla with the full season IL, as Lynn Henning somehow reported that he has a torn ACL. Although I feel that that's kind of weird that information got out there because the Tigers will make a lot of things public. And Montevo on the full season IL as well. So, yeah, it's another blow for Erie. As far as Charles wants to know, would Hiley get a call up in August?
I mean, I think if he gets kind of hot and they need a lefty masher, he'll kind of get a look, and they could maybe bring him up because who cares? Because we're 12 games up in the division, and we want Howie Lee to get a look. I can see all that. He does have to be added to the 40-man. They did this last year, but I don't know. I mean, I just think if he's up, it's going to be sort of like getting yourself familiar and not like oh, we're going to plug him in and play him every day and see how it goes.
Yeah, maybe for the September call-ups, maybe perhaps. I mean,
Yeah.
they get what 2 call-ups now, something like that, or
Yeah, I think it is too.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
that's
I mean,
that's when I'd expect it if any time. Yeah.
yeah, I mean the schedule is favorable towards. I mean, after they have the Twins, they host the Angels, but the Angels are always like a wild card. They somehow the Angels are stupid. And they went for it. I don't understand why, but it is what it
The
is.
Angels, man,
Yeah,
madness over there every time.
Well,
yeah, it's so funny too. Everybody was giving crap to the Angels for going for it when they clearly had an opportunity not to. And then Houston and Kansas City come into town after that before they hit the road against Oakland, sorry, the A's. They play them in that bandbox in Sacramento, but
Sacramento is.
yeah, Joe's right though. I probably think the September call-ups would be the arms, but we'll see. I mean, Highly
And Malloy. I mean,
and
if Malloy is
Seward,
hitting, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, if one of those, if Malloy or Young happens to be kind of raking, they'll probably get another chance to see if they can contribute and kind of get them acclimated too. But you can still only bring up so many arms, right? I still think it's like 14 and 14, and I'm not sure about that though.
one thing
so
you
yeah, go ahead,
did bring
Chris.
up, like the Angels. I did want to, when we were talking earlier, I wanted to bring up the Marlins just a little bit
Mm.
because they didn't trade. They traded hardly anybody. They didn't trade Alcantara. They didn't trade Cabrera. And it seems dumb, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel happy for their fans, if that makes any sense. Like, they're playing really
Yeah,
well. They
Yeah,
come all the way back to 500 from what, 16 games down.
yeah.
Sometimes it's
It
just
would have
fun.
been it would have been a kick in the teeth for
Yeah.
them to like, oh, we're rebuilding again, great.
Yeah, like they can still trade Alcantara. They can trade those guys in the offseason. But what's wrong with having like a little fun in the summer with baseball? I think the
Right.
Royals did something similar, right? Like
Mhm.
they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They're close enough. They went out and traded a bunch of guys, and like they didn't give up anything. It's the Royals. Their farm system sucks. But they wouldn't.
Yeah,
They're trying to win, and I applaud that. That's kind of fun.
yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah,
I plot that
yeah.
too.
They saw us last year, they're like, what if
Yeah,
we just get hot for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
yeah,
Never know. Maybe, I don't know when Reagan's is coming back, and that's kind of their big problem right now. If they got Reagan's back in there, and somebody got hot at the plate, to somebody help Bobby Witt Jr., please, for the love of God. They might be all right and
yeah.
have some kind of shot at a wild card at least.
I feel bad for him. I really do. So
I
Toledo,
screw them.
screw. Well, I mean, like, yeah, and for that, yeah, screw them, the Royals. But so the Marlins, yeah, they swept the Yankees over the weekend, so that was comical. That was great. So
Hmm.
the Mud Hens went 5-1 against St. Paul, which, by the way, I saw them Friday. St. Paul is not a very good team at all. Period. It was a brutal watch. But
Yeah,
as the pitching lines will indicate here, Sawyer Gibson Long looked really good. He was moving his fastball up and down. Slider looked really good. His changeup looked solid as well. Uh, but Sweeney was the only offense. They walked. St. Paul had no. I mean, their pitching staff was terrible too, and they're just the Mud Hens made the most of really taking advantage of walks. But
yeah,
it looked like Young made a good play, and then he threw it away. So there was an error on him on that. It struggled at third. But the rest of the offense was just, I mean, it was just a kind of hodgepodge of things. And I ended up watching a little of Saturday's game too. And the one pitcher that stands out on this list, and it was something that came to my attention. Uh, so Troy Watson was part of that pitching in Oklahoma, the performance, and his velocity was up, and he's been pitching pretty good as of late. And his numbers last year are night and day. So I'm looking into
yeah,
Troy Watson a little bit more and see what's going on with him. Matson, some of his pitches were just hanging up there. And Lang, look,
yeah.
folks, we get questions about Alex Lang all the time. Outside of his knuckle curve, he doesn't really have much else that's swing and miss kind of stuff to him. And so if you don't have anything else to go with that knuckle curve, they're just gonna be sitting on it. And so and
I
then
still
Randy
think.
Jolik. Go
Can I
ahead, Chris.
just say, I still think the sinker is a good enough pitch for him. He just can't command anything.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it comes down to. If Alex Lang started spotting his fastball, he'd probably be up here. But he had problems with that before he got hurt. So
yeah.
yeah,
And
I'm not
Bailey
expecting
Horn,
that
same
at all.
thing. Bailey Horn, all he had his command was of his sweeper. That was it. And then every time he tried to throw his fastball when he was ahead of the count, could not get it done on Friday. And so that is
Yeah,
probably a reason why he wasn't there. I mean, I wish that Drew Summers would have pitched. That would have been the perfect Friday nights watching all those guys pitch. But instead, I mean, I got to see Lang pitch and Gibson
hmm
Long. I think they're trying to extend maybe for bullpen.
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, he could be very useful out of the bullpen. I'm hoping I have more hope in him than just about anybody else that they don't have on the active roster right now. Probably coming up and helping them. So RJ Pettit's been fine since he got to AAA, but I don't see him being a contributor this year either. So yeah, there's not a whole ton. Cody Heurer is a decent guy to pick up. Has a pretty good fastball, but yeah, hasn't been able to put it together either.
Yeah, it'll be a matter of time. He made his debut yesterday, had a strikeout, and it was fine there. But a chance to see Henry Malloy play first a little bit for the first time extensively, and he was fine there. I mean, the throw that Young had was just like over his head. There's nothing you can done about that. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I look, as far as like Malloy being the defender or not at first base, he's serviceable at best. But at some point you like to see his back up here again. Still drawing walks, still doing a good job of when he does barrel up, he does a good job with that. So
Yeah, I mean, there's still enough potential in that bat that you don't really want to quit on it, and he doesn't have any trade value really at this point either. So,
yeah,
but yeah, the glove has never been the problem. It's the foot speed and agility and throwing arm and all that other stuff.
yeah, and so Seawolves, I went yesterday, and Max Clark was not in the lineup, nor was Tyrone was not in the lineup either, and no Max Anderson, as Chris pointed out. It's like, well, you get a Sunday lineup here,
Yeah, that was
and
awful.
it showed because I mean, McGonigal and Briseño struggled with velocity a little bit. Chris and I were talking about this, and it was a first apparent at bat where I forgot the pitcher's name. It was around 95, 96, and was jamming him on the inside. And so, but I thought the second at bat and third at bat, he did a good job of fighting that off, and was able to get two solid singles. But Akron was running all day on him, and I think he only gunned out one runner. So the framing was fine. The arm was fine. It's just just in terms of like Akron was taking advantage of anything they can. Their offense is not there. That's not a very good Akron. It's not the usual Akron team we're accustomed to. There's a couple of guys that've been there 2 or 3 years. I was talking to Justin. Shout out to Justin from the Cleveland Guardians prospect site. Does a great job. Him and Jeff Ellis, who's a baseball aficionado. Got a chance to catch up with Justin, but I don't know, Brandon. It was just Burham, by the way, 7 innings, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts. Still possibilities of kind of a bullpen guy, but the bullpen for Erie this year in the second half of the season has been kind of I don't want to say dumpster fire, but it's been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, after a pretty good first half, yeah, I mean, it's definitely fallen off. And I don't know, West Michigan's been holding it together kind of with duct tape, but trading Ashman kind of hurts. Ashman was, I don't really know that Ashman has like a Micah Ashman. People wonder, big lefty, kind of with an invisible fastball. I don't know if he's really going to work out, but at that level, he was very effective. So yeah, I mean, all these guys are in the playoffs, so I guess hey, they're in the same shape as the Tigers, right? You just got to get it right at the end.
Yeah, especially because West Michigan is clinched, Erie is clinched, and now they're getting some reinforcements from Lakeland, so that's going to help them out. But Briseño, like I said, overall after that strikeout did well. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I just from watching him, Clark and McGonigal have adjusted to Double A just fine. Clark has adjusted like it's been seamless.
Yeah.
McGonigal is striking out a little bit more than he has before. He's not expanding the zone. He's just missing pitches in the zone a little bit more because he's getting better pitching. But Briseño is the one who looks a little bit rough out there, and it's typically it's on these fastballs. And the thing I was saying is it feels like he's never really had that kind of elite bat speed. He's always had like an average bat speed, but just tons of power and good, plate discipline and stuff like that. And what he's dealing with right now is trying to, in Double A, these guys can land their secondaries in different parts of the zone, and so he's trying to gear up for that. And then he doesn't quite have the bat speed to adjust when he gets that fastball when he's not expecting it. And I think he can, eventually come around on that. Like I don't think he's suddenly just going to fall off a cliff, but I do think it might take him a little while. And I feel like we're getting to the point where having him catch is probably somewhat detrimental to his development as a hitter.
Yeah.
I know they're not doing it every day, right? It's like twice a week tops, but it's like, guys, this
There's
isn't
still a lot. Yeah, there's still a
It's not
lot
going to
else to
work.
concentrate on. Yeah,
Like, just play him at first. Teach him to be a really good first baseman,
yeah.
or as good as he can be, and let him hit. But I don't know. Maybe they know that maybe the hit tool isn't quite what we hope it will be, and adding some defensive versatility will help there. But I don't know.
Or they're just going to try it until they're absolutely convinced it won't work. A lot of people still don't think McGonagall's got the arm strength to play shortstop. The Tigers obviously don't care right now, and they're going to keep trying it. But I think, I mean, we all foresee a day when Kevin McGonigal is probably the second baseman and not the shortstop, even if he plays shortstop for a year or maybe even two and is serviceable, and you don't care because he's raking. Something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot on a catcher's plate, especially when you move to the AA level. There's a lot more advanced pitching. Like, all your pitchers are significantly better or at least more experienced than what you were dealing with. There's a lot more to concentrate on. And yeah, I don't know if spending a ton of time working on his framing and pop time and all that kind of stuff is necessarily worthwhile when he's got some adjustments to make at the plate. And that adjustment may just be shortening up a little bit against certain guys. That may be all it takes, and just recognizing that I can't just take this long swing and bomb on these guys with the same authority and ease that I did at high A. Like, yeah, I mean, it's always tricky to talk about bat speed because, like, there's the old school way of thinking about it, and then there's like the speed of the bat that they're measuring now. But when I used to think of it as like sort of like the acceleration factor, he doesn't have that. Like, he moves the bat fast enough to hit the hell out of the ball, and have plus raw power, but he's not quick, and it's not a short, quick stroke the way it is with McGonigal and Clark to a degree too. I guess maybe we're breezing over the thing we should talk about more, since people always yell at us about this. Max Clark is looking really freaking good.
Yeah. Yeah, is that
I mean,
seven-game hitting streak or something to that effect? Yeah.
every question I had to begin the year, he's been answering. So, and he's still
Yeah.
by 4 or 5 months the younger of the three guys, Brycinho, McGonigal, and Clark. He's pulling the ball. He's pulling more balls in the air. He's hitting different types of pitches. He's running the bases well. He's still not really like kind of tracking like an elite center fielder, but he's good out there, and seems to have gotten better to me over the past year. There's a lot to like, and he did get to the point where I almost would be like, there's no way I would trade him, and
Yeah.
that's all. And Bersenio or McGonigal is the only one I feel like completely off limits about, but I think Clark is probably getting there.
Oh no, and the thing is, he's hitting the ball in the air more. Like, some of the things I mentioned in the article that I wrote a couple months ago, that the things he was going to do, he's starting to do already, and so
Yeah.
that the evolution of his game is continuing. It was funny too, because there was one play in center, and Justin was sitting next to him, he goes, "Yeah, Max Clark would have made that play," and it was, I think, Ben Melgeri, or I forgot who was starting at center, and I was like, he ain't wrong. But the thing is, here's the thing about McGonigal. I want to show everybody this play that he
Oh yeah.
made yesterday. And like, I think McGonigal can play short in a pinch. I'm not worried about McGonigal, honestly. I think he's fine at short. But this is a
Mm-hmm.
good play here, where in terms of tracking the ball, this was a ball that I think just got lost in the sun. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but here's the play here with McGonigal yesterday and Akron.
Yeah.
On the corners now. They're going to wave around Burgos, and the throw, it is
That
in
camera
time.
work
He's
by
out by
Akron,
about
though.
3
Oh.
feet.
Wait for it here.
They
Yeah.
tried to push the issue that time. They've done it all series long.
The hard ball to get to.
That time got caught.
McGonigal, and then just boom.
Yeah.
When you're struggling, you want to make things happen.
And it was a good tag there by Brisingh, too.
and make
Thanks.
them make the play.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah,
Good lead by
Go
That
ahead,
was
Chris.
no, I mean that was a perfect one hop strike from shallow left field. Like, it's not you would think like Rayner would throw that through the catcher's chest, but
Right.
but that's still
O'Neal
plenty of
Cruz.
plenty of arm strength. Like that was fine. I think he has what he needs. Still think he's a little bit like he's just pushed to the limit at shortstop. And when you're that like that, you're going to get a lot of plays where you're kind of rushing, and you just
Yeah.
there's zero room for error. He's not like a smooth shortstop. So
Yeah, when he
I
makes
do
a diving play in the hole and has to pop to his feet and get off a 90-mile-per-hour throw, he's not at his best. But could we call him like at least Trey Sweeney, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he'd be just fine. He'd be serviceable defensively at shortstop, and obviously the bat is going to be special. But I tend to agree. Like if he's the best defensive shortstop on your roster, then you might need a better roster. If that
Defensive.
makes sense. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine, but yeah, I don't know if you want him being your shortstop every day on like a championship level team.
Yeah. He serves-
Although I mean, the Tigers' defensive philosophy is built around the outfield, right? If you make all the plays in the infield, they don't care that much. If you're turning the double play, they don't care that much about, you didn't get to every 50-50 ball, that you're not diving all over the place like Javi Baez. That's fine. They're just trying to prevent extra base hits and get all the routine outs. That's the way the Tigers view defense as far as priorities. And I think McGonigal fits fine into that for a year or two, probably.
Yeah, and there's just again the one thing that the constant thing that I noticed about Clark and McGonigal both is it's just a matter of the presence of having like good drawn out at bats. Both of them have these in Briseño too. That's why I'm not worried about Briseño.
Yeah.
Long at bats.
I lost you for a second.
Okay. Yeah, the mic's still being weird. So they all of them have really lengthy at bats and they drag out at bats, and that's something that we're not used to seeing from Tiger prospects. So that's a good thing.
And I like, oh sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to echo. I think I've said it before, but I did want to echo everything you said about Max Clark. He's been just awesome. And beyond pulling the ball in the air, he's still doing the things he was doing well before, which is slapping singles the other way. It feels like he's attacking the pitches in the zone earlier in counts now more than he did before. And maybe that's just his process. I don't know. This is 2 years in a row where it's like,
it might be.
He sees a billion pitches in the first half of the season, looks like he's hunting walks, and then just turns it on.
Once he's comfortable, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm hunting, first pitch pass balls or hangers, whatever it is.
But yeah, I mean, like we're doing our re-rank, I think, and I had Rayner ahead of him on our last rank, but I moved Clark back ahead, and part of that might be because Rayner's injured or whatever. But it's like he just looks really good right now. He looks like a top 20 prospect in baseball, so I can't deny that. So that's a really awesome development.
Yep, for sure. Yep, he's just doing everything you could have hoped he would do. So, and we already have people screaming, "Move him up," because they look at Clark and McGonigal's numbers and they're like, "Move him up, they're ready." But a lot of the pitchers they're facing are guys who just got moved up. I mean, you do have to let this play out a little while, and make sure there isn't some flaw. Maybe they'll run into a team that has a couple good lefties, and all of a sudden you see one of them is having a problem. Like it just takes time to kind of expose everything and see exactly where they're at. But right now, all signs are favorable, very favorable.
And one thing people don't really talk about when they look at the stats or performance in the minors is once you get to Double-A, you're going to see some pretty solid starting pitchers. Like they just saw a couple really good pitchers for Somerset, Elmer Rodriguez Cruz and another Carlos LaGrange or whatever his name is. Those are like legit pitchers. But what happens in the minors is once the relievers come in, they're not good. And the difference between the minors and the majors is when the relievers come in, unless they're the Twins now and they have no relievers left, relievers tend to come in and be nastier than the starters. So that's
they did say Shane Bieber.
That's true. And
they got to look. They got to look at pro command there.
Yeah, McGonigal that hit a home run off of him, right?
Not a home run.
No, I think he got a single. Yeah.
Who hit a home run off of him then? I thought
Jake Holton.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Holton. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Old man Holton. He's the same age as
Bieber. Just waiting for one of those big lollipops in there and crushed it.
Yeah, that was a good move by Toronto, by the way, who ended up picking up Beaver. Had a strong start for Buffalo yesterday. So, the Whitecaps are over 60 wins. They're just continuing to dominate the Midwest League, and even with the bullpen being the way it is right now. Unfortunately, Pacheco's kind of come back down there. Good to see Brett Callahan back. But John Peck, second Player of the Week award. There's some you have to look at the outside of his ISO numbers. He's just been hitting the ball everywhere, and so he's been really the centerpiece of the offense and continuing to move on or continuing to keep things going. And Andrew Sears is a dude. I think we've talked about this a little bit. I think Sears is a guy who, at some point, you want to see him. I could see him getting called up to Erie in September for the playoff run. John Peck and Stu Gotts has said John Peck has got to be one of the most improved players in the system. Definitely one of my favorites. Absolutely. And Rainer Castillo, I don't know what's going on with Rainer Castillo. I really don't. And by the way, Hayden Minton is a new member of the Patreon, so welcome.
Right on.
Yeah, right on. And so, but yeah, he's been pitching solid as of late too. But yeah, Preston Howard with the start, Chris. That was
Yeah, that surprised me.
You know, I don't know. I didn't know what to make of that. Like at first, I was like, "Oh, they're just doing a bullpen start," but they're like, "No, 4 innings." I'm like, "Oh, are they trying to transition him into starting?" Because he seems like he's been a damn good reliever.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Was he
what's
just
going on.
really efficient? Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I didn't.
I
You know,
didn't dive into it.
yeah, I didn't watch it either. I do want to go back real quick though, and just defend Isaac Pacheco's reputation here for a second. He did go 0 for 13. He just hit 300 in July with 19 walks and 15 strikeouts.
that's good.
The first time in his entire career he's had more walks than strikeouts in a month. I think
Yeah.
what's happened is they don't pitch to him anymore because
Yeah.
he is the big damage bat in that lineup now, and he's not chasing as much. He'll still strike out. He's always going to strike out a decent amount. But I've been kind of encouraged by the fact that he
He has cut it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
even last week. It's what seven walks and 5 strikeouts. He didn't get any hits, but he wasn't he's working at bats and
He doesn't look overwhelmed.
no.
Yeah.
So I think he's I don't know. I think there's maturity there. I still don't know if it's going to work in Double-A or above, but
Right. He's still got to find a way to leverage the home run power. I mean that's kind of his only path, but he certainly has been much improved. Like honestly radically improved. Like I would have wrote him off last year. In fact, I did. So
Yeah.
so shout out to Isaac Paredes, or I want to say Itzhak now, but Isaac Pacheco for really transforming the approach, making a lot of swing changes, getting his hands kind of closer to the ball, and just shortening his swing, doing a lot of pretty good things.
Yeah, there's the thing about Pacheco too is that we even said this year, going into this year, is kind of a make or break year for him, because that year 3 is always like we saw that with Parker Meadows, we saw that with Winslow Perez. That they were preaching that, oh boy, what's going to happen here. I was going to use another word, but you get what I'm saying. And so that's where he was heading at. But yeah, good for Pacheco. Honestly, he's only like 21, 22 years old, but yeah,
he'll be. I'll just say I was just going to say this. He'll be 23 this November.
23, okay.
So he's got to be able to get to Double-A next year and keep some progress going. But but all in all, I mean, I think this has been a very, very positive year for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got to run and take a break for a second.
Okay, yeah. So with Brandon on that in mind, take him off the screen here for a second. But yeah, so go, Chris.
I've been scrambling trying to get all these slides done, and
I could have done them for you, man. I had time earlier.
I was planning on doing them, and then like I said, I'm in Pittsburgh for work, and I got some work calls, and it just couldn't happen. But I think I'm going to give up here at Lakeland. But
That's fine.
yeah. But it was nice to see Brett Callahan back in the lineup there in West Michigan after 2 months. Really, I think that he'd done some time down in the Complex League, and I kind of like Jack Penny more than I think a lot of people do. He's got the same kind of ridiculous rugby thighs as Max Clark.
Yeah,
Like these dudes just do nothing but squats all day, and I think he's got some power. He needs some development with the bat overall, but I think he's a guy. He might be next year's John Peck, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Somebody who just kind of breaks out a little bit. But yeah, Gregory Peck. Like you do wonder if he's going to get called up at some point, because you look at that, you're like a full week without striking out once, and he's a guy who swings a lot. And he was just attacking the first pitch basically every time and driving the ball. He hits the ball hard. He hits it all over the field. There's a lot to like there. He's going to get challenged, I think, and probably struggle at Double-A for a little bit, but that's what it's for.
Yeah, no, and I think that right now, I think the reason I think he might stay pat is because it gives a chance to West Michigan to compete in the playoffs too. Because if you keep that lineup together, I mean, does Erie want to go with Soretti? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's still time, and Complex League kids also coming up at some point too, or Complex League, Lakeland, to West Michigan.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a handful. Like you said, there'll be Complex League kids coming up, and I think we'll also see a handful of draft picks starting to filter in. Don't know when, don't know where. I imagine they'll all be in Lakeland, but I think that's probably coming in the next week or two.
Yeah, we mentioned this last week that 20 of the 21 signed with the Tigers. So the only one that didn't was I believe the 17th rounder, 18th rounder.
Ethan Rogers, does that
Yeah,
sound
Ethan
right?
Rogers, the kid out of Texas high school, right?
Yeah, he's off to Wichita State.
Yeah, it's gonna be a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just the backup in case something went wrong with River Hamilton or somebody else. Still kind of shocked that they were able to get Meridian LeFew to sign, but
Yeah.
that's good. More and more up the middle talent.
Yeah, across the board, and yeah, he's a good looking kid too. I think in terms of just what he was able to provide. So lastly, yeah, let's go to Lakeland, and there was a really good comp that Colin put up on Twitter. You retweeted earlier with Salzero looking like Carlos Martinez. Chris, did you see that?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
retweeted that. Like, it was something that I never would have thought of in a million years. I'm not one of those guys who I don't have the. There's certain things in baseball that I don't like bank away my brain for whatever reason. Some I do. Some I remember Dusty Ryan's first home run for some reason when they mentioned him on the broadcast tonight.
Yeah.
But like batting stances for the most part, pitching windups, jersey numbers. I couldn't tell you who anybody's jersey is. So that was an awesome pull by Colin because it really is. It's pretty damn close. Salcedo is a beefy boy, but man, like he looks pretty nasty.
Yeah.
It's we've seen guys like this come through the system before. These hard throwing, big body relievers with multiple pitches, and sometimes it falls apart as they get older. They stop throwing as hard for some reason. But he looks like a guy who could be a potential impact reliever down the road.
Yeah,
Do I need to learn his delivery so I can
Yeah.
bless you guys with another?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Example.
you'll see it because it looks very familiar. It'll be looking really familiar to you actually. So
Yeah, it is familiar. Yeah.
it's let's see here. So I have it right up here. Let's see here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Not quite as. No, yeah, pretty close.
Yeah,
Dang, it is
yeah.
pretty close. It actually looks a little bit like Rafael Montero as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there are only so many different pitching windups, right? Like
Yeah.
a while ago, somebody on the Discord was like, "Who's the young Tigers pitcher who throws exactly like Paul Skeens?" I'm like, "What?" I looked it up, and it's like, I guess Yonan Koba kind of has the same windup,
yeah.
but it's like, I don't know. I mean, there are not that many different ways to pitch.
Yeah.
Alan wanted to know, Owen's getting released, or is that procedural move? There's a little more.
He did. Yeah.
There's a lot more to that. Yeah, there's a lot more to that behind the scenes that I heard some things. Not
a baseball thing, right?
Yeah, not a baseball thing.
So,
we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So pitcher windups are fun. Yes, Colin, that was a good comp by you there.
Yeah, that's awesome by Colin. It's not my area of strength by any means.
Yeah, Stu Gott says he'd like to see Osorio or Warwick go to Lakeland. I would love to see the same thing with Warwick go to Lakeland too. Deadly Ninja Bees, he's looking like an Ivan Nova already. Don't put that flavor in my mouth. I don't want no Ivan Nova comp. You're talking about go ahead, Chris or Brandon. Sorry.
Well, you know who it's going to be. It's going to be like Anibal Salas or something. We're all going to be like, all right, yeah, that's fine, but not exactly what we want to see. I'm just hoping to see Jank Diaz. That's my guy. I want to see him in Lakeland. I don't know if that'll happen or not.
Well, I mean, I was happy to see Wilbert Mendez and Salcedo get called up, and excited to watch Mendez, and the poor guy got drilled in the head with a 103 mile an hour line drive on his fourth batter. And it's like part of that is because his fastball is pretty easy to hit, but still, that's not ideal. And I feel for him because he threw a couple plus sliders. I'm like, oh, that's useful. But yeah, we may see Jake Diaz. We may see. I don't know. It's always curious to find out which of the pitching draft picks will actually pitch. Because every year, you just assume they shut everybody down, but every year there's 3 or 4 of them who throw 4 innings. I think Randall and Ashman threw a couple innings last year. And Sloan, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you'd love to see Witherspoon for a minute.
Yeah.
Or Jacobs too. I wouldn't mind seeing Ben Jacobs
Yeah.
throw. That'd be good
Yeah.
to see. Or for that matter, was Wiggy.
Whiska,
Yeah,
Wimpelberg.
Yeah.
We'll get Cash Kuiper. They,
Yeah.
they,
Cash
they did some
Kuiper,
they did
yeah.
some solid names this year. We'll get like Grayson Grinzel,
Yeah. Yeah.
The kid out of Oregon they picked. Yeah.
which is I'm fine. I'm happy to see any of them. Right, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
once
And
upon a time.
it was good to see Eric Silva emerge from his cocoon and get back on the mound. Didn't look particularly great, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see if he can build it back up from there. Gabriel Reyes has been bumming me out. His numbers are good and everything, but it's just nothing else is coming along. It's still just like, okay, well, he has a really good slider for a left-hander that those guys just cannot deal with. But much like Rainer Castillo, not much progress this year, unfortunately. Just kind of a dud of a year so far.
Yeah, a little bit of regression, and yeah, it's oh man.
Remember when Christian Santana was 18 and he was better than he is now too?
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah,
Hey,
Santana.
he walked a lot this week.
He did. He's always walking, and the power is there, but
Yeah.
swing decisions and the bat path are still a problem, I think. Looking like Riley right now.
Andrew Stott said he because of talk about Tyler Owens, that hurt his excessive gas, very disturbing to the clubhouse chemistry. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we could probably name a few guys on the Tigers roster who are pretty gassy if we really thought about it. We really put in the time and effort, did a little research, a little scouting.
Yeah, I'll go down there a couple times, and whoever smelt it dealt it, kind of thing. So anyway,
yeah. I mean, those are the stories that I've been I want to go down and get from the big leaguers about like their minor league experiences when somebody was just blowing out the bus. What happens? These are athletes who eat like nothing but protein and
greens. Yeah, just like
But when they're young, they don't necessarily eat as well, and so it might be like, okay, this dude every town we stopped in, he would find the best chimichanga and just eat like 10, and then we just avoided it.
He was lactose intolerant and he still ate lactose anyways because he's an asshole. There you go.
Oh yeah,
we go with that. But no, as far as like the slides go, you can get them on our Patreon, and also we have the JJ Cooper interview that we're going. It's still on our paywall. AJ, who smells like crap. Oh, that was a good one there, Deadly Ninja Beast. But yeah, we'll be dropping that JJ Cooper. It's still on our Patreon, but we might be putting that on our YouTube now. But if you are a paid Patreon member, you get some exclusive perks, including some player profiles we've been dropping. Our scouting reports are going to be going up there too. We're putting a little more things behind there because we want to give people the added value of joining our Patreon but the JJ Cooper stuff, we talked to him for about an hour, and honestly, the conversation could go on longer.
I was bummed I missed that one. Yeah,
that was And all the times too. Like you were like,
I know.
And especially because
I was about to take a sledgehammer to my computer that day, so it was. We were in a bad place.
He defended his top 30 really well, but it was just him talking about the Tiger system in general and how much it's improved and. But yeah, it was a really good time, and he even talked about his vacation. He took a vacation, and what he did, he went to Comerica Park.
Oh,
for his vacation.
No.
Yeah,
I would have thought he would at least like go to the Dominican or something and watch a bunch of DSL games and hang out on the beach during the day or something.
I think he went to. Didn't he go to a Brewers game too, Chris? They mentioned
that's what the three of us should do is go to the Dominican.
Yeah,
watch DSL ball and vibe on the beach.
Yeah, and don't drink the water locally.
Yeah,
the little bar, and be careful with that.
You guys know some people, like maybe like Wenzel's parents or something can take care of us or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, I was caught in between thoughts. Sorry.
Oh.
We're into the nonsense portion of the event.
We're the wrapping up of the podcast, if you will. Yeah, Charlie, I'll send the podcast. We have an Arizona fall. We have a
Sarah, you're definitely coming. I know. You have to be there. We can't leave you behind. That'd be bad.
Yeah. Colin did mention that Lucas Elisal's brother Frank, Mets prospect, was traded. Yeah. We've talked about Frank before. He basically has the same stuff, but he does throw harder. I think he's always thrown harder. But Elisal getting called up to West Michigan is pretty awesome. Now we can go see him in person for one. But it's just nice to know that hey, there's something behind these results, and they believe that like he's a guy worthy of the next challenge.
Yeah,
Because he
and
is one of yeah.
if he can start, yeah, if he takes after his brother and adds a couple miles per hour, he's going to be pretty nasty.
So that was a cool one. And Jackson Strong, it's nice to see Jackson Strong get moved up. People wanted that a little earlier. Like he's still got some swing and miss issues, but there's a lot of tools there. He's above average defender in center. I would say he plays a lot of corner, but he can go out and get it in center. He's got above average speed, good arm, good power. It's just gotta be a little bit more patient and slightly better swing decisions. But,
Yeah, pretty toolsy, as we say.
Yeah, very toolsy. No, I would love to go to the Dominican, and yeah, of course, Sarah would have to come, and but yeah, not to mention too for translation, it would help my Spanish big time. My Spanish would be instantly like that.
Yeah.
Instead of Carlos Guillen from the Tigers, it's like sometimes he'll politely shake his head. He's like, "It's getting better," and then Garbe, like every time I talk to Garbe in Spanish, he's like, "Rogelio, qué pena, ¿por qué tú no hablas más?" I'm just like, dude, man, like, come on, talking, yeah. So anyway,
I'm working on it, Barbara.
I'm working on it. Yeah, I can understand you completely. I just it's so Anyway, I already struggle with the English language, let alone Spanish. But
I know you're like, okay, Barbaro Garbe. You're not even the most famous Barbaro that we can even think of.
Yeah.
You were beaten out by a freaking horse. Okay.
I forgot about that.
2006 Kentucky Derby winner Barbaro. Anyway.
Yeah, Barbaro. Yeah, and he does a really good job with Carlos getting the Spanish booth. But it's funny because like every time I see him in there, they're just. You talk to Carlos Guillen about anything American food wise, and he's all for it. Like he loves talk about that stuff. So
I love his calls actually.
Yeah.
I have I go to Dan Dickerson calls, but I also go to Tigres de Detroit to hear his calls. There's something about quadrilangular that is just that just sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Atrás. And, yeah. He does. Yeah, he does a really good job on there. So for anybody that out there who does want to hear a different type of language, there you go. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it.
Just want to mention two things in the DSL real quick.
Yes. Sorry.
We don't have to go through it. I didn't do the slides, but Chris Rodriguez continues his power binge. He went 6 for 15 this week. 6 for 15 this week with 3 doubles, a triple, and a homer. And I want to bring up, we haven't talked about him, but I've been tweeting about him a little bit. Angel De Los Santos, who was actually one of their bigger names this year. We just didn't really focus on him. And then he didn't play much, but he's absolutely raking so far through 20 games. I'm trying to get his stats real quick. Let's see. Yeah, so through 20 games, he went 7 for 15 this week with 5 doubles and a homer. This is a 17-year-old right-handed hitting shortstop. Through 20 games, he is batting .429, .514, .661. That is 24 for 56 with 8 doubles, a triple, a home run, 9 walks, and 12 strikeouts. Not bad for a 17-year-old middle infielder. So
4 stolen bases, only 19 games. Yeah.
Yeah. So just another interesting name. Like again, you never make too much about stats in the DSL, but when they're like this good,
17. Yeah.
He's wrecking 24-year-old, 28-year-old pitching. Yeah, that's not bad.
So
even if they're not that good.
He's a skinny little guy, dude. Here, I mean, look at him. This is him here.
Yeah.
Interesting setup. Good swing. Good swing mechanics there, but yeah.
So that's fun.
Looks pretty dang fast too. Yeah.
Yeah, exit velocity on that was 102 on that too.
For
nice.
6'1", 161, 17-year-old. That's
That's a good development there. Good call there, Chris. Yeah, that was the good to see some other bats emerging there in the DSL. So, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Check out the new bless2boys.com tomorrow, Brandon.
Yeah, it'll be a whole new look. We're on WordPress now, so we've got like a feed thing that's going to be sort of like a little sidebar, like a Reddit section where you can post and upvote stuff. I don't know. I'm fairly optimistic, but of course, like the next week is probably going to be a hell of like bugs and trying to get everybody to re-logged in and figuring out where everything is. But it should. There's going to be a new look. Same genius content as always.
Yeah, David wrote a fan post and he said that my rant was part of my his Harris fan post was something that because of based off my my position on what I said. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, well, why'd you tag me you should have tagged me on Twitter. I would have
retweeted it.
Yeah, I would have retweeted it. But no, either way, he got in a spirited. I'll just say he got in a spirited debate on the minor league account where he was going back and forth with somebody. And I was just like looking at it, going, I'm gonna stay out of that. That's a no.
Yeah, I was it was too deep along by the time I saw that, and I was just like, I'm caught up with all this other
same here.
stuff. Getting the site sorted, I was like, I'm not wading into that. But
Winslow Perez home run, gotta go. Yeah, like no,
it was a very like one side or the other type of thing, and I don't generally like that. Like the theory of relativity was discovered over 100 years ago. There's probabilities in these things. You should be somewhere in the middle. If you're an extremist on one side or the other, you're probably being dumb. But anyway, good luck. Good luck to everybody out there in the world today.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very. I'm looking forward to seeing how the website's going to lay out for you guys, and check out everything over at TigersMLReport.com. If you're a Patreon member, like I said, there is a article that I posted yesterday, the road show or just road notes from what I saw Friday and what I saw Sunday, because there was just much. And Chris might be heading out maybe Thursday. We'll see, and he may be heading out to Erie, but I'll be going out to Erie in 2 weeks on the 20th and 21st. So, that's our next road trip. And then I think I'm going to try to head up to West Michigan. I'm due to go to West Michigan. It's been a while for that. But
I haven't been down there this year either. Chris, are you anywhere near the stadium in Pittsburgh?
I'm like 25 minutes from downtown.
Okay. Not walking distance. I was just curious. Yep.
No, it'd be nice, but I'm here for, airport stuff. So we're right next to the airport.
Business business conditions.
Is there strip clubs by this airport? Is that what it is? Always.
Yes. From my hotel room, I can see Home Depot and Costco, and that's it.
Is there any place nearby named the Slag Pit?
Or about the Ginsler.
Pittsburgh steel history, but kind of a tie-in with the strip club.
I was just saying the strip club would be like what steel beams or something like that, or something like the Ginslers.
I don't know. The Rebar Inn. I don't know.
The Coke
stacked
oven.
fries, something like that. Anyway, they put fries in their sandwiches.
Owned by Jeff Goldblum, secretly famous Pittsburghian.
Oh, he's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I knew that. I knew
Peaches.
Yeah, Andy was it
Andy Warhol?
Yeah, Andy Warhol's from Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right. That's another crazy one that you would never think was from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I never know the Jeff Goldblum one.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
if you go,
I didn't know that Bloomberg.
If you go into the airport there in the terminal, they have statues. There are 3 statues. It's I think George Washington, Nellie Bly, and Franco Harris.
Oh, Franco Harris. Well, hell yeah.
So that's
the miraculous one. Yes.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Or the immaculate one.
Yeah, the Raiders still hit him for the state. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, R1, J4. Stay close, everybody. Have a good night. And I can find the music. Yeah. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
The music.
Or we'll do it ourselves.
Do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.